There's things that I miss and things that I don't. It's nice to see the ocean and nice to kind of, from a nostalgia standpoint, but like the only thing I would come back for, like I said, is to see my family.
Ashtyn Davis grew up in the mountains of Santa Cruz County, embracing every adventure his backyard had to offer.
Way different than Berkeley out here, obviously. Everyone hears Santa Cruz too, and they think that I live on the beach or next to the boardwalk, but it's kind of far from that. We'd ride dirt bikes all around here. This is where I crashed, and my grandpa destroyed the jump, where all this junk is. It used to be a nice big jump with wood chips, so if you crashed, it was nice and soft. Very different than a lot of what my friends grew up with.
Ashtyn was always a very energetic kid from the time he could walk, always full of energy. That's who he was. He was competitive at a very young age, always had the competitive nature, and always trying to do better, always. And especially if you told him he couldn't do something, he would go out and do it.
Watching Ashtyn grow up doing sports, you'd always get people coming up to you saying, he's something special. Oh, that kid's something special. You'd hear that a lot.
I swore he would never play football. When he was small, I fought it and decided to let him try it.
I wasn't allowed to play football, so I wanted to give him the shot because I saw the teamwork and the camaraderie on a team. I think it was super important. And when he was 9 years old, I didn't think he'd be going to the NFL or anything like that, or playing at Cal or anything. I just thought it would be a good experience.
Sean Davis and Christine Cohen started dating as teenagers at Santa Cruz High School. They got married in 1995 and had 2 kids, Ashtyn and his younger sister Lexi. While their friendship has endured the last 3 decades, the marriage did not.
I was recreational partier, drugs and alcohol, and on the weekends and that kind of stuff. And soon it became a lifestyle, and it started out with fun, and then it became fun with problems, and then it became just problems.
The way he described it to me is anything he could get his hands on, but pretty much crack and cocaine were his drug of choice. There were times where he would be driving a BMW and we didn't know why, and things like that. And I don't know, it just different things that was kind of confusing at the time.
Ashtyn was a silently emotional child, and I actually did not have any idea until probably last year how much he was affected as a kid. Never talked about it. It was really hard to get him to open up, tried to get him to go to counseling, didn't want to go. And every time I brought up counseling, even when he entered into college, he was like, no, that's what drives me, Mom. This is what drives me.
Was there a low point? Was there a time that you remember that you felt like that it hit you, what your dad was going through?
There was one of my birthdays that he missed, and I know that was really, really hard for him.
His mom reached out to me and let me know that I missed my son's birthday, my firstborn, that I wasn't present for it. And as a result of that conversation, I ended up calling my mom. I ended up going to rehab. It was in that stay in rehab that I could turn my life around in 2008.
October 20th, 2008, what does that date represent to you?
It's the date I got my dad back. That was a special day for me. It took a couple tries for him. It wasn't the first time he went to rehab, but it was the last time he went to rehab, and that was what was important.
On my 8th sobriety anniversary, my kids called me and they said, we're coming over. And I said, okay, great, And so they came to my house and knocked on the door and they said, look, Dad, we got matching tattoos for your sobriety. And it has the circle and the triangle, recovery symbol of mind, body, and spirit protected by God. And underneath it, they had my sobriety date.
What do you remember about that moment when you guys showed him?
I don't see my dad very emotional very often, and that was one of the times that got him, you could tell.
So what I did is the next day I went down and I got the same tattoo, which is mind, body, and spirit protected by God, and the 10/20/08. And hopefully I'll never have to drink or use again.
Ashtyn says watching his father battle addiction helped him stay focused on what mattered most, his family and his dream of playing Division I college football. The only problem? No one knew who he was. So with no football offers, Ashtyn's ticket to college was through a different sport, one that up to that point had been an afterthought.
Track was always, it was a means to an end. It was to get a vehicle to take him where he wanted to be.
I remember we went to Cal, we walked down to the track, and I remember seeing the look on his face. And I was like, I knew. I was like, this is where he's gonna go.
Ashtyn walked on to the track team at Cal, but never lost sight of his first love. And after sending several unanswered emails to the football office, he finally tracked down the right person.
He said, Coach, my name's Ashtyn, I'm from Santa Cruz. I know we're from the same hometown, and I'd love to play football at Cal. So that was about it. And we said, all right, well, let's talk to the DB's coach and get you out and take a look and see what we can do.
So Davis, as he continues to progress through his career, well on his way to becoming a phenomenal hurdler.
Pretty rare for somebody with the athletic talent that Ashtyn clearly has to just fall in your lap like that. And it's certainly been a huge gift for all of us.
Ashtyn made the team as a walk-on in 2015, but it wasn't until Justin Wilcox arrived 2 years later that Ashtyn became a full-time starter and earned a scholarship.
You saw the character traits along with the talent, and we knew he had a pretty limited football background, but you saw the growth, and how motivated he was, and so that was a pretty easy decision.
Here's a guy that really never had the details and the nuances of the game of football, just period. Just given his football background, where he come from. And, transition into an entirely new position that requires, a hell of a lot more than just raw athleticism.
The tight ends, if you take their, if they decide they're going outside stem, and you buzz outside fast enough, they don't know what to do.
It requires being a great communicator. It requires being kind of one step ahead. And it requires being kind of the safety net, literally the safety net of the defense.
Guys out there in all walks of life, and football is no different, that are high maintenance. And then there's guys that are some maintenance and then no maintenance. And then there's guys like Ashtyn. There is zero maintenance.
He's probably one of the smartest football players I've ever met.
You can trade that if you see it soon enough. They'll try and make a pick route out of Chris Brown. Chris said he's gonna outrun him.
We're like brothers on the field. We always can just communicate perfect, and I don't really have that with anybody else but him on the team.
Colorado's got to stay ahead of the chains, but they're behind him here on 3rd and 11.
When he got the pick six against Colorado.
Montez fires and it's intercepted. Ashtyn Davis with the pick. Davis down the sideline. Davis takes it to the house.
It was the exact play that we expected him to pick off. We talked about it in the film room during the week, and he picked it off, and then I was there blocking for him. I was laughing the whole way, and screaming, just laughing, just because we knew it was gonna happen.
Touchdown, Bears.
So now here you are playing in your final year for Cal, and a lot of draft boards have you as the number 2 safety in the drafts in 2020. When you hear about that or see that stuff, what goes through your mind?
We call that poison, just as, some of the negative things people say about you can be detrimental or, negative. Some of that stuff can be even more poisonous.
Fires a fastball over the middle, and it's intercepted. Ashtyn Davis picks it off for the Cal Bears.
My nickname for him is Thursday. And the reason why I nickname him Thursday is because Thursday is the first round of the NFL draft. I think that the sky is the limit with what he can do physically on the football field, and he's still learning the game.
I really think he's already won. It doesn't matter what goes from here. He's got to breathe life into his dreams, and he's got to see them before his eyes, and that's really what it's all about.